Can we just take Boubacar Kamara to a lab, clone him, and then just have him for the rest of our lives? If we had 10 Boubacar Kamaras, we would be some football team. So, Villa fans, welcome to my match reaction. If you're new to the channel, make sure you are subscribing. Comment your thoughts on Aston Villa 1, West Ham United 1. And let's have a light target of 900 on this episode. So I've just got back from the game. And first things first, I just hope that Mings isn't worst case scenario. It looked terrible from the Holt end when he went down. He was whacking his leg on the ground. He was in pain. He was in agony. And then he rose and was able to carry on, and probably shouldn't have carried on. But you see that in football quite a lot these days. Arsenal seem to do it a lot when they have players that go down. So he played on. He looked like he was distraught. And then he came back to the dugout. He was walking on the pitch after the game. So hopefully, worst case scenario, it's not going to be that, because I would imagine he would be on crutches and he wouldn't have come out the dressing room. So I'll just hope and pray that he's okay. So that's first things first. Boubacar Kamara is absolutely world-class. World-class Kamara. He's everywhere. He was so good, head and shoulders above any other player on that football pitch. He covered every blade of grass. His tackles, interceptions, reading of the game, sensing danger, driving Villa forward was just absolutely phenomenal. So, Boubacar Kamara, you can walk off that pitch with your head held high. So, we had one change. We had Buendia out, Ramsey in, and we started the game absolutely like a steam train. We were explosive, powerful, dynamic, strong. We had link up, we had movement, we were so fluid, we were carving them open at will. They couldn't get anywhere near us. We scored that brilliant goal. And again, Boubacar Kamara looking round, running into open space, playing a little ball to Ollie Watkins. Nice little give and go. And then we had that wonderful finish from Ramsey, which I thought was brilliant. And I was like, yes, Ramsey, carry on now, build, grow into the game. And we were really good. Watkins with another goal involvement. And I thought for that spell, Watkins was brilliant. Leading the line well, pacey, holding the ball up. Really, really good from Watkins. Finding space, dribbling with the ball, driving with the ball. And we were just really, really good. I haven't got anything bad to say for about the first 15, 20-ish minutes of that game. And then we have the Mings injury, which is a massive blow for Villa. Absolutely massive. And, you know, it felt... I was there at St James's Park when it happened, and Mings got injured and stretchered off, and you could see that the players were shell shocked. And I feel like we had a little bit of that in this game. It was just from Mings' injury to the full time we saw, we were nothing like what we were for that first 15, 20 minute spell. We struggled to regain our composure. We struggled to regain our structure, our shape, our momentum. And it was really, really tough for Villa. It was hard work. It was a tough watch. And I think the first half was sort of, as it petered out, it was epitomised by the referee's performances of losing control of the game. I think in that first half, he started to lose control of the game. There was a lot of fouls, a lot of niggles. We saw Paqueta go down. Mate, come on. What on earth are you doing? We saw it in the FA Cup game. We saw it in this game. And do you know the weird thing about it as well? If he's going to do that, he should just get a yellow card. He should get a yellow card, because he's just been an absolute idiot. So yeah, and he lost control, Andy, and it felt like for the referee at halftime, it was a relief that he blew the whistle. So you could understand that we lost our way a little bit in the first half with Mings going off, etc. Because what I'm going to say is, and this does get overlooked a little bit, I think, is that when we talk about Villa and we talk about our best players, Pau Torres is one of our best players. Whether you think he can defend, whether you think the back line can defend, is a completely different story. We cannot pin all blame on not being able to defend on Pau Torres because none of them can really defend at times, can they? But what Pau does for this team, how progressive he is with the ball at his feet, this whole team, this whole structure of how we play is built around Pau Torres. So when you lose Power, we've got Mings in there, and he adds different attributes, and he's okay, Mings, at doing what Power does. But when you take away a centre half as well, who's stepping up on the ball and trying to be a progressive ball playing centre half, and you lose that as well, and then you put a left back in there, you are going to lose something fundamentally, structure wise, with your team. It's just a given, isn't it? So fair play to Digne for going in there and playing that. He played it in pre-season, I think, either last year or the season before. Was he perfect? No. Do I really want to see him in there again? No. But it's not his position, is it? So he did okay in a role that's very, very specialised. It's such a specialised position. And then Matson comes on as well. So it had a big impact on the way that we play. It's always going to. We can't overlook Pau not being there and Tyrone Mings not being there either. We cannot overlook that. But we go into the second half, and we really struggled with West Ham's intensity and their formation. The wing backs, we struggled with it. We struggled with Wan-Bissaka going into a central area. We really struggled with that. They sensed a bit of vulnerability with Villa, and they stuck it on us a little bit. And I'm not saying that they were really fluid and were slicing us open. They were just very directly intense with their play, going into central midfield, holding it up, bouncing off, give and goes, little fumbles that were just falling to him, going out wide, overlaps. And we just really struggled to really get to grips with the second half, I think. And that's probably like my biggest frustration. And there was a lot of times with this game where we would beat their press. We would have Rodgers driving. We'd have players driving forward. It would just be a loose pass. It'd be a pass that wasn't quite accurate enough. And it was just a frustration that when we get into those areas where we've turned over teams and we're progressively, actively running at a team, that we don't do the damage. It's so important that once we've transitioned on a team and we're driving forward, we've opened space, with Rodgers, with a player out wide, another overlapping player out wide, with a striker. We have to make it stick, and we have to be ruthless in those areas, because that is us getting into very good opportunities. And I felt like we did get into some of those opportunities, but we just weren't quite, just wasn't quite sharp enough. So they end up scoring a goal, which is just shocking to concede. Shocking to concede. Right. So what I'm going to do, because it's going to be a bit of to-in and throwing on this, going into different areas. I've got a lot of things that I want to talk about. So we'll pick up first on our goal, which I thought was really good from Villa. So here we've got Boubacar Kamara finding space, head up, and plays that wonderful pass into Watkins. And then it's just really good play from Villa. We get that little bit of a give and go now. And it's a beautiful pass from Watkins to Ramsey. Ramsey's able to stick it away on a sort of like an acute angle, but another goal contribution from Watkins, which is absolutely brilliant. And then we start to have problems during the game. I can't remember where this is. I don't know why I've put this here, but we have a block on the line from Consa. But this is just something that I really want to start to show you now, which is something that these are all over the place. Right, here we go. Right. Here is scenario number one, which is a indication of what's about to happen. So Wan-Bissaka's able to find space in a central area, and we really were struggling to pick him up. There's the opportunity that goes out wide. Martinez flaps it. But the first warning sign for me would be this one. Two players at the back post, Villa defence, all at sea. We're flapping and floundering around. And this was a big problem here now for me, because we can see there's an overload on the back post. Now, where their goal comes from, we can see from where their goal comes from now, is that we are just an absolute defensive mess. An absolute mess, because we're so central. There's space out here for this player. The option here for Alvarez to just get that ball in. And then we've got a 4-on-2 overload at the back post. Where is the organisation in there? You lose that with Mings going off anyway, because he's a natural leader. But you can't condone this at the back post. I'm sorry. Like, it's absolutely atrocious. You've got two players here standing in that offside position. You've got Matty Cash up against a player here. Marlon probably, or Rogers needs to get into that area there to protect that back post. We don't do it, and he's got an absolute free header to run on and bullet it into the far corner. I mean, what can you say about this? You cannot legislate for defending like this, to allow a Premier League team with a player at the back post to have an open run. Why is nobody sensing any danger whatsoever? But then Souček, after this, then has another header, back post, unmarked, nobody on him. Really, really bad. Really bad. And then Cash is obviously having to try and be that player that could make up for it. But, just not good, and just defending like that. And the referee, I mean, he was a joker, weren't he? I mean, look at this here, right? Look at this. Premier League officiating. Alvarez on a yellow, guys. Kamara goes past two players. Alvarez takes him down. Nothing. No second yellow. Ref. Oh, you've got a beautiful view of this. What are you doing, mate? What are you doing? It's a second yellow. It's a cynical foul. Boubacar Kamara is away in open green grass. It's absolutely appalling. But shocker that we're talking about Premier League officiating in games. He lost control in the second half, and he was scrapping around all game, trying to keep up, trying to follow the game and whatever. But absolute shocker. So that was frustrating. We've got West Ham's passing network here as well. So you can see their network with a 5 at the back. They've got 3 in the middle and then 2 up top. To be fair, I actually thought and I know he's an idiot, and I know he's a player that's just, yeah, I don't like seeing what he does. But I actually felt like Paqueta held the line quite well for West Ham. I thought he did quite well leading the line, considering that he's not a striker. And I thought him and Kudus were always a threat and had a good partnership. We've got Villa's passing network here, probably look a little bit obscured because Mings came off as well. But, a decent network with Kamara and Tielemans on that same line. We've got a network out wide with Bailey, who I thought looked a threat. Marlon came on, and I kind of felt like it was going to be A little bit like when Bailey came on for his first game, when he had that shot at the edge of the box. But I thought that showed a little bit about what Marlon's all about, really, that his ability to get in and around the 18-yard box. I'd like to see a little bit more from him, but I thought he was okay. He was a decent threat. So I felt like, was a draw a fair result, or did they deserve it? I'd probably say a draw was probably a fair result, wasn't it? I think a draw was probably a fair result. If we take a look at some of the stats from the game, then so you can see here we've got the momentum bar, which second half was quite a sustained period of West Ham pressure. Second half, we just really couldn't get going. If we have a look at some of the stats, they had 54% possession. They had an XG of 1.39. We had 0.79, 14 shots each. Villa, 372 passes, 440 for West Ham. I did see this as well, and I think this is showing a bit of the tail of the game, to be fair. So they had 61% success on their long balls. We had 24. They had 41% on their crosses. Duels, they won 52%. Ground duels, they won 54. Aerials, they won 47. Dribbling, they had 47% success. Tackles won, they had 61% of their tackles were won. We have a little look now at the average positions for Aston Villa. We'll highlight through a few players. So Boubacar Kamara, literally everywhere. Tielemans, we've got Matty Cash, we've got Bailey. Digne, again, would be obscured because of his having to go into that back line as well. Ramsey, okay. Do we want to see more? Yes, possibly. If we have a little look at Marlon, what number's Marlon? 17. So you got Marlon's heat map as well. Maatson, very, very loose. Very, very loose. And just weren't great for Maatson, was it? Delivery's not great. Look at these numbers that SofaScore have given our players, though. They've given quite a lot. Kamara, 7.3. Ramsey, 7.6. Bailey, 7.2. Cash, 7.1. Konsa, brilliant. You saw the block on the line, the image that I put in there as well. I thought Konsa was really good. But this is the big one, guys. This is the big one. Have a look at this. So we've got Boubacar Kamara. 17 duels out of 25 were won. We have got 3 out of 5 aerials, 83% passing accuracy. So really, really good from him. I thought he was head and shoulders the best player on the pitch, really. We have a look at some of the others. Ramsey, 94% passing accuracy, 5 out of 7 duels won. Bailey, 69%, 3 out of 6 duels won. We've got... Let's have a look. Where's Maatson? I want to see what Maatson got. 80% passing accuracy, 2 out of 12 duels for Maatson. Not good enough. Not good enough there at all. So I want to see more from Maatson. Definitely want to see more. McGinn, bit loose when he came on. Buendia. Yeah. Duran had a shot from an obscure position, which was just not required. And he should have held it up and passed it. So I think not great from Villa. Not great at all. Didn't help with no Unai on the touchline either. That was never going to help. I did have my big worry about that we would not be able to cope without him on the touchline. We got a point, so I guess we kind of did cope. But yeah, just that fluid nature just wasn't there, and just frustrating, really. What else? There's something else I was going to talk about as well, but yeah, we're just not firing, are we? First 20 we were, and then we just lost our way a little bit. But we've heard today that Buendia's got a 1-year extension. He's probably going to go out on loan. It keeps his value if he has a good loan spell. Again, that's another player that's come on today that might not be here at the end of the window. Duran, Emery's comments after the game about him, etc. It's just not. It's a distraction, isn't it? And I think going into the position that we're in, we don't really need distractions with players potentially leaving, etc., and substitutions. Were we probably worse when we made them? Yes. Are we trying to manage the squad? Yes. We've got a big game on Wednesday. It's important that we rotate. But it was just that cohesion just wasn't quite there. And I did feel towards the end of the game, the only team that was going to win it was probably West Ham. And it's like, again, was that their first shot on target? Got in the back of the net. It just feels like teams aren't having to actually work hard for the goals. Like I said to one of the lads that were next to me, like we were going into the last 15, 10, last 15 and 10. And I said, they're not going to have to work hard to get this winner. They will not have to work hard whatsoever. It could be a corner scramble. It could be a cross into the box. You know, we're not being carved open by tiki-taka, exquisite foot. It's just very loose goals that we concede at very weird times and just not great. Like we need to just switch on more. And it's frustrating that some of the players that we've got missing, but at the end of the day, we can't use that as an excuse. Emery doesn't do excuses, does he? That's what he said from the get-go, that we just have to just get on with it. So am I frustrated with how we've played? Yes, I am. Do I think we can be better? Yes, I do. Do I feel like we're creaking a little bit? I feel like we probably are a little bit. Just feels a bit, I don't know. Feels like we're just creaking around a little bit, that we're just not as strong as what we need to be. And maybe a couple more signings that will probably come next week, back end of the week, is probably going to help. Like, if Mings is out for a long, long time, we need two centre backs coming in this window. If it's Foyth and someone else, then that's what we need to do, because we need to really shore it up a little bit. So, big game Wednesday. Big game Wednesday. Oh, I mean, come on, you ain't got to be fired up for that, have you? Really? I mean, you don't. There doesn't need to be a team talk. There shouldn't be a team talk. You should be fired up, ready to perform. So, yeah, McGinn worked the best when he came on, but the fact that he came on is huge, and it was good to see Marlon. So we're gonna have to have, if Mings is out for I don't know how many games, then we're gonna have to sort something out there. But what I will say, and I will say this, I do not want Boubacar Kamara moving anywhere out of that midfield. We cannot, and I will reiterate, we cannot move players around to position another player and cover another player. This is where we went horribly wrong last year, when McGinn had to go in this position. Louise went over here. Tielemans went over there. This player had to cover that player. No. Whoever plays at centre-back has to be a centre-back. I don't want to see Kamara going in there and doing a job and moving McGinn in a double pivot with Tielemans. We can't do that. So if it has to be Swinkles, or it has to be, it's going to have to be, it's going to have to be one of those. It's going to have to be, because we were just weakening the team elsewhere, and I just don't like that. There's so many teams. Look at Archie Gray at Spurs. Spurs are rubbish, but at least Archie Gray's decent. He's not the worst one in that team. So I really do not want to see Kamara dropping into that defense, or even someone like Onana if he's back. I want to see a defender in there defending and not weakening the team anywhere else. So it's a point. We didn't play that well. Move on. And we got a big game against Celtic. So, we had the rumour of Foyth come out earlier. And I know a lot of people are against it, but he's played his best football under Emery. He knows Unai Emery. He knows how Emery works. that is a big, big positive than a player that has got to learn what Emery wants. So if it's a short-term deal, his contract's up soon as well. Just get the cover in, get the body in, and just regroup and recover. And hopefully, we could go in the market as well. I mean, we could even try and go back in for Barday because he wanted to play, didn't he? So he's going to play now. So yeah, so I think that's everything really. I'll be really interested to hear what you guys have all got to say as well. But I imagine it's not going to be the greatest because the performance weren't great. But I've just tried to give my thoughts on everything really. So cheers, everyone. Up the Villa.